Tampa Native Show opening, take 6.
Hey, Stevie, if we keep screwing up, we'll be able to eat all these devil crabs.
Mario, you're right, but if we keep eating them, there'll be nothing left for the show.
Well, who cares?
Well,
it's
that's
our
true.
show.
You got a point there.
Excuse me? I guess we've been rolling this whole time. Well, hello. Stay tuned because we've got an excellent show coming up. We've got deviled crabs, we've got Helen Richards, and we've got the Tampa Native Show, which starts right now.
Otra vez. Come here. Let me say something. I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories, a city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Native Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella.
She remembers me.
Welcome back to the Tampa Native Show, ladies and gentlemen, the only show of its kind anywhere in the world. My name is Mario Nunez, and as always on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, if you're hard by your TVs, I'm Mario Nunez, this is the 15-Minute Girl, and that's Tampa Steve. Now we'll take it from the top. Seated to my left,
Sally Nunez.
and to her left,
Steve Canella.
there you go, now you know our identities.
That's us.
And how'd you like that opening?
That was something,
'Cause
huh?
we loved it.
That's
And we got
fun.
devil crabs sitting right over here on the table. We can't wait to
Which
tear
we love
out.
more than the
Yeah,
opening.
we're gonna get after them in just a little bit. But before we do that, we're gonna get to a couple of announcements. Helen Richards is sitting right off camera, waiting eagerly to tell you all of her stories. We're in for a great night, guys.
We are, and some great
And
double
what's-
crabs, too.
For those of you that are tuning in tonight and may not have already heard, and we're expecting to see Andy Johnson, because Andy's going to be with us next week. We send our love and our condolences out to Andy and his family. His father passed away earlier this week, and the funeral was today. And Andy's such a trooper. He actually called me and he said, Mario, you know, I would make it there, but my sister has a little gathering set between 6 and 8 o'clock at the house, so it's just going to be impossible. I told him, there's no even need to consider anything else. We'll see you next week. We called up Helen. Helen was ready. She jumped into her boots and got down here. And you know what I mean? She slid down that pole, and here she is doing the show with us tonight. So we're debt of gratitude to Helen for stepping
Absolutely.
in, bringing these fabulous devil crabs, going to tell us her story. And again, Andy Johnson and your family, our condolences, our heartfelt condolences. Well, guys, what did we do last Saturday night that we are still buzzing about?
Our ears are still buzzing.
Yeah.
about
What did
my
we do?
gosh. Firefall concert was
Oh, it
fantastic.
so much fun.
Thank you to John Ficca. Thank you to Sandy
Sandy.
Ficca for providing us with VIP table accommodations right up front. We talked about it earlier in this week. We've never been that close to a concert setting before. I mean, we were literally within 10, 12 feet of the musicians. There you can see a good shot of us. That's John Ficca there, myself, and Sandy. Sandy, of course, the drummer for that great group from the 1970s.
He was on that night.
Firefall. Such classic music they performed that night, their repertoire, and we have it on good account. I was talking with Sandy earlier this afternoon that they're going to be back in town on April the 26th. That's a breaking story. So if you want to put that on your calendar, we'll get more information about that event as it draws nearer.
You know, I forgot how many hit songs they had, too, by the way.
Yeah.
And
It was hit after hit.
Yeah, one after another.
hit.
They played a lot, too.
That last photograph, if we can go back to it real quick, Eric, is the 15-minute girl, myself, and that tall, young, handsome fellow there. That's our youngest son, Nick Nunez, who was also able to participate with us that night. Looking good, Nick. That was a fun night. And, of course, the next picture that you saw briefly there, this is...
That
David.
was my personal sax moment.
This is, yes. Personal sax. There's your first bell ring of the night. Got so close to us literally
Yeah.
that I was able to reach out and grab that saxophone. It was that
so cool.
wonderful night. A lot of Tampa natives on hand. We saw a lot of familiar faces. There was a lot of love in the room, and it was for a very, very special organization. Also, we got to give a shout out to the Montessori School for the Deaf that were there that night.
They were
and
fabulous.
they performed for us
Yeah.
as well.
Great
What a
job.
touching moment when they got up there and they signed a couple of Firefall songs. And it was just one of those special moments.
I got a little
that,
teary-eyed myself, I have
Yep.
to say.
Yeah.
next time these guys come to town, if you're available, I think you need to make every effort to get out there. And as you can see, the band there is just, they were ripping and running
Band
that
played
night.
on.
The band played good, very well said, darling.
A lot
The
of
band-
energy.
The band played on that night. So thank you again to Sandy and John for providing us with the opportunity to participate.
Very much.
Stevie, we got a great story that we can share with our fans also this evening about something having to do with the University of South Florida.
Oh my goodness.
I'll
yeah.
let the IT department take it from here because Stevie's been working behind the scenes very diligently. Stevie, tell everybody what's going to happen.
Well, this is wonderful news. We've talked about it. Well, actually, the last 2 years, we've always referred to the show as a preservation effort.
Sure.
In fact, we'd be remiss if we didn't actually give Johnny Sinchek credit for
Yes.
that phrase, preservation effort. Well, now it's official. The USF Special Collections has just finished uploading our last 2 years of shows, and they're going to be up on the website, the USF server on Monday. The Go Live Monday is the Go
Great.
Live date, 2/25. We have the link already. We're not going to share that until Monday. Then we'll put it on our website, tampanativeshow.com. We'll have the logo. But all of our archive shows will be up on the server in perpetuity on USF's website.
Yep.
Special collections. And I want to give a quick shout out to everybody who helped make that happen. That was Mark Greenberg.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful man.
Thank you, Mark.
And Todd Chavez, who, if it hadn't been for that fateful day where I went to Whole Foods and happened to run into him, this may not have happened. you
How
know?
serendipitous. Tell people real quick in review.
Well, what happened was one Sunday morning I was going to, I was down by the stadium. I was going back north on Del Mabry. I made a U-turn. I said, I'm going to go to Whole Foods while I'm down in this area. I made a U-turn, split-second decision. I go in there. I run into a gentleman named Todd Chavez. He's the director of the academic resources at USF Library. And I said, hey, Todd, I remembered him from 35 years ago from Tampa Catholic 10th grade.
How about that?
Because I left 10th grade and went to Hillsborough after that. I said, Todd, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm the director of the library at USF. And I told him about the show. And then he put us in touch with Mark Greenberg, and that's how this whole thing happened. Also, big thanks to Barbara Lewis, who helped make this happen as well. She was the one actually doing the dirty work and putting up the
Thank you,
videos.
Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks to everyone at USF and
Yes.
Andy Hughes as well.
Yep. Thank
very
you, guys.
Absolutely.
We look forward to being able to put that link out there so everybody can enjoy that.
Great news.
I
Great
can't wait to
news.
see it myself.
Let me go ahead and say that we have also been invited by John Ficca to participate in a breakfast that's going to take place. There's my one shot. In a breakfast that's going to take place on the 28th, which is next Thursday, and it's the Early Childhood Development Council. Early Childhood Council, forgive me. Guest speaker is going to be Lauren Dungy, and if the name sounds familiar, it is. It's Coach Dungy's wife who's going to be there. It's
going to be great.
Great effort. Let me read a little bit of the bio.
Oh, we have a photo of that too, by the way,
Do
while
we?
you're reading
If you
that.
can bring that up,
Number 7.
I'll read over that. It's the Early Childhood Council, the ECC. It was established in 1983 to increase community awareness and assistance to young children with special needs and to help parents access needed resources to ensure their children get off to a healthy, happy start in life. Today, ECC continues its rich tradition of developmental screening, inclusion, and advocacy to promote positive development for all young children in Tampa Bay. And as a member of the Tampa Native Show host crew, we're proud to be an invitee, and we're going to see if we can possibly help as well. And their website, in case you want some more information, is, of course, www.ecctampabay.org. And again, thanks to John Ficca for reaching out and saying, hey, Mario, if you guys are available, please
Thanks for
join
the
us.
invite.
Please join us. So the Tampa Native Show, we're just everywhere.
We're all
We're
over the
moving
place.
and grooving.
We're just everywhere. Now, tonight, because we have a very, very special VIP guest in studio, we've decided again that we're not going to take any calls, much like we did with Jack Espinosa, much like we did with Council Chairman Charlie Miranda. But Steve has his laptop open, so we are going to take your Bolita numbers via email. That email address is show@tampanatives.com. So if you've got a question or a comment for Helen, send it in the version of an email. Answer today's question of the day, which is land or sea? How did your family get to the Seabreeze when you were going to the Seabreeze? Did you have a boat and you pulled up on the dock and you just walked up that way? Or did you drive up, land or sea? And then finally, also include your physical address, so we don't have to ask you for that later if you win. And tonight's grand prize Bolita drawing is excellent. It's going to be this wonderful book written by our esteemed guest this evening. It's called The Seabreeze by the Bay Cookbook. But it's not just a cookbook.
No,
there's also some wonderful anecdotal stories in here all about the history of the Seabreeze restaurant. So she's going to autograph that for the winner this evening. So send in those emails. That's show@tampanatives.com.
We have one already.
Of course we do.
You want it before we introduce Helen? We want to read this let's do this real quick.
All right, let's do that.
This is from our dear friend Angelo Ramori. And he writes, "Hey guys, say hello to Helen. Her cousin Howard Richards was my best friend. She signed and gave me her cookbook years ago. My wife and I have cooked almost everything in that book. My Bolita number is 24.
Oh, wow.
24.
That's really nice.
Let's put that
Angelo
down there.
Mori.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Angelo.
Thank you for that. Now, we do have one call that we are going to let sneak through because it got in just before we made the declaration of no calls. But there's also another reason why we're going to let this call come through.
That's true.
So we're going to let that call come through. If you'll bring up the 4 shot, thank you, Eric. And without further ado, this, ladies and gentlemen, this dear sweet lady to our right is none other than Helen Richards, proprietor extraordinaire of Seabreeze, now Seabreeze on Wheels, located on the corner of 301 and Causeway, right there in the southeast part of Hillsborough County. Helen,
Welcome.
I got a phone call here. They want to talk to you. I think you need to hear this. You ready? I'm ready. All right. Stevie?
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
If I could just push the button.
Yes,
Oh,
here we go.
Okay.
Well,
Wait,
no.
it's a plastic thing.
Phone issues.
Bum, 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 bum.
Here's a pen.
Do you believe that?
Try that. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Anything
on live
happens
TV,
on television and does.
this has never happened before. Oh, wow.
Sorry,
Okay,
Joe.
wait. There's maybe more than one way to skin that cat.
We're going to have to
There you
take
go.
the phone apart.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's resolved.
as happens on live TV, let's see.
Yay!
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey guys, it's the Skipper from Seminole.
Hey, Skipper.
Well, this is the skipper
Joe.
from Seminole, better known to those of us who know the skipper from Seminole as Coach Joe Abini. Hi, Joe.
Hey guys, how you doing? Is Miss Richards on tonight?
She is with us, and,
She's
and
right
listen, you are as VIP as it gets, my buddy, because we weren't going to take any calls tonight. We didn't say that until just a moment ago, but since you were already in queue, and we know you've got something special you want to tell Miss Richards, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, hi Miss Richards. This is Skipper from Bayshore Christian Varsity Baseball Squad. I want to let you know how honored I am to have your grandson play for me, and he's a good boy, a great ball player, and I've had a great game tonight. It was ugly, Mario,
Uh-oh.
but we pulled it out 10-9. So
Oh, okay.
Good guys won.
Did you hear that bell right there?
That's not ugly.
yeah, I hear the bell.
There it is. It's only ugly if you get the L at the end of that thing.
Great
If
job,
you win,
kids.
it's all good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We'll talk again how ugly it was, but it was a win, so we're good at it.
Absolutely. Put it in the W column.
Yes,
Very good.
that's what counts.
And I want to just let Miss Richards know that it's really an honor that I'm glad that they've decided to continue the Seabreeze legacy with their devil crabs and their meals and stuff. Really great that they're doing that.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate that. And I'm so glad my grandson got to pitch and help win the team.
There you go.
That's
There you go,
great.
Joe. Hey, we're going to get her out there to go see one of those games. So we'll let her know. We'll get a copy of that scheduled to her. She probably already has that anyway. But for sure, we're going to see if we can't get everybody out there to see one of these games coming up soon.
Terrific. And get Sally our number, Keith, and our...
I got him
We
down,
got
Joe.
them. Don't you worry about that.
No worries. I got you covered.
All right, guys. Have a great show.
Thank
and
you.
I'm sorry I'm not on the video or on the TV or the computer watching it, but have a great night.
Thank you so much, Joe. We appreciate
still there.
it.
Congrats on the win.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
Even when they can't watch the show on TV, they'll call us to let us know they're thinking about us.
From
And he wanted to make sure to
great.
call to tell you that
He's
he
one
was
of our
real pleased to
ardent
have your grandson on
fans,
his
too.
team.
Oh, I'm proud of him.
Yep, he's doing a great
He's a
job.
good coach.
So, all right, let's dive right
begin.
into this, shall we? Trivia question, show of hands, everybody out there in TV land. Do you know how the devil crab got its name? Anybody?
I do.
You out there in West Tampa? Perhaps some of you in Ybor City. Well, I know.
You would think somebody would know.
And the 15-minute girl
Yeah.
knows.
And I do know.
certainly Helen knows because she wrote about it in the book.
Yeah.
And now Steve knows because we told him before we went on the air.
That's right.
Steve, you want to tell everybody?
Well, because they're hot as the devil. They were so hot at one time that
That's right.
It was called the hot
That's
hot
how
as the
they
devil.
referred to
right?
them.
They were referred to as when they
Give
people
me
would
one of
drive up.
those.
Yep, give me one of
Hot
those
as the
hot as the
devil.
devil crab cakes.
Yeah.
And it got shortened somehow.
But that's kind of long to say, right? Every
Yeah.
time you walk up there, put that on the menu board as a hot as the devil crab cakes.
They used to be much hotter than they are now.
Now they were hotter because of the picante sauce you put on them, or
No,
the
they
ingredients
were
inside.
full of hot peppers, and then you put hot sauce on top
my
of that.
gosh.
Oof. Well, that'll make your eyes run a
Yeah.
little bit. Make
Tell me
you
about
break
it.
out in a
Yeah.
good sweat.
Oh, and the teenage boys, they had to always show off for the girls, and they would use a whole bottle of hot sauce
Oh,
to show
there
how
you
brave
go.
they were, and drink the rest of the hot sauce just to show
Oh my
that they were
gosh.
macho.
Well, Stevie, we were out to Seabreeze on Wheels not too long ago, and we had the occasion. Keith was very generous, and he took us on a sort of a, I guess you could say, a backstage tour.
Yep.
We got to
Oh, it was
actually
great.
tour
Oh, yeah.
the inside of the production facility, and we've got a little video montage that we might like to show now. You want to go ahead and show the first one?
I think we should do that because it's a great setup,
it is.
and it'll launch.
And
Helen
then we
into
can
her
talk a
stories.
little bit more
Right.
about what we see, and we can let Helen elaborate a little bit on what we're about to see.
Right.
So, video number one.
Well, it's video number one. It's Eric, if you could bring that first video up, and it's Keith Richards, Helen Richards' son. So wonderful video.
Not
is.
to be confused with the other Keith Richards.
Yes.
No, it's a
Okay.
different one.
Hello,
Enjoy
I'm Keith
this.
Richards, and I am the owner of Seabreeze on Wheels. My dad had got cancer here last year, and while on his deathbed, the family we were trying to find a place to build another restaurant to carry on the Seabreeze legacy. The fact that we had been in the seafood business since the early 60s. My dad's nickname, of course, was Seaweed, nicknamed the boat behind us Captain Seaweed. So I actually dreamed of this one night. I dreamed about buying a semi-tractor trailer and putting a full 5-star restaurant kitchen in it. And that's what we pursued, and that's what we've actually built here. We have a 53-foot-long food truck. It's the largest food truck built in the state of Florida. And as far as we know, we're the largest seafood vending truck in the United States. And here we prep all of our seafood from scratch. All of our seafood is American caught. Everything's prepped from scratch, which we'll talk about that here a little bit later.
As fresh as possible.
Right.
The gills, bright red gills.
The interesting part about that, we learned also something about the shrimping business, and you can maybe elaborate on that. That you guys have. Is it the only shrimping license? Am I correct? This side of the
yes,
Mississippi? I'm not sure how that works. So correct me if
Well,
I'm
it's
wrong.
for Tampa Bay. It's a Tampa
Okay.
Bay shrimping license is what it is. And we do have the exclusive shrimping license, and it's not good. We really need to be more shrimpers out there because the bay dies. When nothing stirs the bay, there's only 2 things that makes grass come back and gets rid of all the silt, and that is shrimp trawling, and it stirs the bay.
Oh,
So that's
Good
a
to
good
know.
thing.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Definitely.
Yes, it makes the bay flush.
There you go. So it keeps the water
It
moving.
makes
It
it,
keeps the
makes-
water.
it
brings back all the microorganisms.
And imagine that all of those crustaceans and all of those shellfish, the healthier environment, they get bigger. They get, they're healthier themselves and more plentiful.
Yes, only 2 things cleans the bay, and that's shrimp trawling and hurricanes. And Tampa has not had a direct hurricane since 1921, so all there is left is shrimp trawling, and just one little boat is not enough to stir the bay.
Yeah.
right. Wow.
And you've got the boat now.
Yes.
Okay, so what do, Helen? Do we solicit for other people to get out there and get into the shrimping business?
We're going to have to change the laws. We're going to have to go through legislation and have them rewrite the laws, because
Okay.
we didn't realize when they wrote these laws it was to keep, the bay was full of shrimp boats from other states and everything, and they didn't have any regard for our bays. And so there were so many, but the shrimp was so plentiful.
Imagine.
It's because the bay was being stirred very well.
Cleaned up.
And now the bay's not stirred, and so everything is making a crust, and the silt is anywhere from 10 inches to 12 foot deep.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Wow. Well, we got to do something about that,
That's
Steve.
very interesting.
You know,
Who
like,
can
tell
you
me.
call? You know anybody in Tallahassee?
I can make a few phone calls. Maybe.
Okay, good. Be careful, Helen. Be careful.
Oh,
When
good,
Steve
good.
starts to
We
make
need
calls,
that.
things go crazy sometimes.
Well, you know, Helen, when we were there that day, it was about two or three weeks ago on a Saturday, we couldn't believe the reception of the people. What kind of reception have you received from some of your customers?
They wanted to beat the doors down to get in. Everything was so good, and they said you have to stand in line for an hour, but they waited 10 years, and so what was another hour? You know, they were so pleased to be there, and we were so glad to have them there.
Well,
so that's
we know because we've not been there.
And
when
not
the
had a
weather's
line.
not been nice and there's not been a line. There's a lot of knots right there. I just threw about 4 or 5 of them in a row.
Cars
But
coming and going.
All day
cars
long.
constantly.
We were there
And
for
the day
hours,
that
too.
we sat with you there, there was probably, I don't know, a 3-hour period where the traffic was steady.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there was a little respite where maybe there were 1 or 2 cars in the parking lot. Next thing you know, here come the next wave. So I don't know that there's much in the way of a rest break, but there was a gentleman who you had to go look for, if I'm not mistaken, and he was in the boat taking a little bit of a break. Maybe you can talk about him, and we've got a photo of him that we could probably bring up on the monitor as well. Do you know who I'm talking about, Helen? The gentleman. You have that picture, Steve? We
That's
can call
number
that
thir-
picture up
number
and show that
13.
picture to us, Eric.
Number 13.
And go ahead and leave the monitor up, even though it's sporadic, and we'll get Helen to look right into that camera light. So, Helen, we want you to look into that camera light right there and tell us the story when it comes time, because if you're looking up there into the camera, into the monitor, well,
it looks, your eyes go off.
yeah. So we want you to look. Well, do we have the monitor back up? Okay. Well, it's the gentleman that was wearing the cap backwards that day who was in the kitchen with us. Was he the cook, baby? Was he the cook?
So, yeah.
He's got a history with you guys. He was with.
Oh, Timo.
Yes. What was his name again?
That's
Yeah.
it.
Timo Noonan.
There you go.
There
There
he
he
is. There's
There he
Timo.
I
is.
took that picture.
So let's talk a little bit about that man and how how valuable he is to your kitchen staff.
He worked for the Seabreeze for over 30 years.
Okay.
And everything he makes is wonderful. It doesn't matter. If he touches it, it's going to be good. And he is good.
And that day he was taking a little break, just because he's earned that right. And he was in the captain's seaweed. He was over in the boat, and he was and Keith had to go get him, fetch him. Hey, and it's Timo, right? Is it Timo?
Timo, yeah.
And his last name?
Nunes.
Well, how about
Oh,
that?
what a coincidence.
Is it N-U-N-E-S or Z?
Munis.
Oh, Moona with an M.
Munis.
With an M.
Yeah,
okay.
with an M.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we got to meet the staff back there that day, and I tell you what, a whole new profound
Yes.
appreciation for what takes place in that small, very close area.
Very close quarters.
It's essentially
54 feet
a
long.
trailer width. But then you've got to consider all of the equipment that's in there that comes out from the wall. What do you figure that little walkway is there? Is it about 20 inches, maybe 18 inches there wide? What do you figure
It's
that
wider
is?
than that.
Is it wider than that?
Oh, yes. It's enough for 2 people to stand
Two
in,
people,
so,
two
yeah.
very small people, in shape, slim. Got to be slim, man. There is a weight restriction to work in that kitchen. I got to be honest with you. But it's magical to watch them do it
they
because
were really all working.
the way they organize and coordinate. Nobody's stepping on anybody's toes, and they're moving product. Now that you got a shot of that grouper there just at the end of that video we showed, and that was about a 60-pound fish that was about to get filleted and processed.
Yeah.
And we got a chance to watch that as well. And I thought, well, that's good. That probably lasts about a day and a half, maybe 2 days. To which Keith said, yeah, that's good for this morning.
We'll have part 2
And then
on
we're
that
going to come
anyway.
back. Yeah, and then we're going to come back and do another one this afternoon.
Yeah.
He says we go through about 2, sometimes 3 of those in a day to a day and a half. I'm thinking, man, those are big fish.
And that was a big fish.
Where do they get
Give
those
me.
fish, Helen?
Out of the Gulf. They come out of
And
the
how
Gulf.
far out do they have to go to
well,
get 'em?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I do not know that.
Okay.
Because I do not.
I'm not
the fisherman.
You're not on the
now.
boat with them.
No,
That's
I'm not on
right.
the
That's
boat with
right.
them.
I'm just curious because fish like that you can't.
And I hated to tell him when he broke his hand that I knew how to fillet it.
Oh.
I didn't want to tell him, but.
But
I
you
filleted
could have if you had to.
I did.
Okay. And it looks like quite a chore because
Yeah.
it's a
It
big
is.
fish. So when you get in there, even if you got a sharp knife, you got to put a little elbow grease on it
Yes, you
to
do.
kind of split it open there.
Slice in there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, you've got a lot of notes in front of you there, and I don't want to take away from some of the things you're prepared to tell us here. So, if you want to dive in and tell any one of those little stories there, and please feel free to.
Well,
And we do have a couple questions from our fans too here on email.
Okay. Well,
So,
Helen, we'll get back to those questions in a minute. You tell us that story you were about to tell us before
now
we went on the air.
we'll talk about the Seabreeze tonight,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about Tampa
There you
and
go.
old Tampa natives, and this is all true stories, and this is I suppose you could call them famous or infamous. Well, either one. These were my brothers and my cousins, and they were called the Chattin' Boys.
Okay.
They were very, very, very primitive. Like I told you before, we grew up way out in the woods. We were on the edge of a swamp where there was panthers and everything.
A lot of wildlife.
And the wild, like for instance, the house next door to us, they were way out in the woods, and they didn't have any electricity there yet, but they had a kerosene lantern and a kerosene lamp. And every night, the cat would get in bed with them. And every night, one night she says, Tommy, I want you to put that cat out. I'm tired of it being in bed with us. So he got up and lit the lamp and looked, and it was a rattlesnake that was coiled up in the bed with them.
Oh my God.
And they said it didn't take but just 1 minute, and they were on top of the table. But then to think they thought it was a
They
cat
thought it was a
every
cat.
night. And every
no,
night it was that
that's
rattlesnake
scary.
that was coiled up in the bed with them. But
No thanks.
but we lived in, like I said, we lived in the woods.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you about tonight
Chattin' Boys.
is the Chattin' Boys. Now I'm talking mainly my cousin Johnny Chattin. He was probably this is all over 50 years ago now, okay? Or around, maybe not quite that far back, but he grew up in the woods, and he was probably the first long-haired man in Tampa. He heard the story of Samson and Delilah and how he got his strength. And Tarzan, he watched the movies on Tarzan
The
and
Ape
saw
Man.
how he got his strength. He had that long hair, and he deducted that is where they got their strength, and so he was going to have that strength. Now they grew up. They didn't. Their mother had been ill and in the hospitalized for a long time, and so Johnny was the oldest of. There was 5 of them. There was 4 boys and a girl. The girl was about 7 years old. That was Ruby. But the boys, they were. He had that, and he had already failed 2 years in school, so he was bigger than all the other kids, but he carried this homemade Bowie knife, and he carried it on his side, and he made it himself, and he carried it to school and everything. I mean, it went where he went.
That Bowie knife went too.
The Bowie knife went too. So he was quite an imposing figure, and all the kids thought he was the leader of the pack. And so, and all my brothers, they lived as the crow flies, probably about half a mile away. And so when he was the type that stories and movies are made of. You would have to know him.
And what part of the county is this?
This is southeast Palm River.
This
is Palm River.
Okay.
And they had a territory. Their territory, the Chattin' Boys' territory, was from 41 to 301, and then it was from 22nd Street down to where the East Bay Raceway is now. But now it was the lay property, is what we called it, and that was their territory. And there was this young new boy that was in school, and he had he was coming to spend the night with Sonny Philippus. And they stopped him. They said, wait a minute. Before you can spend the night with Sonny, you have to spend the night with the Chatton boys first. You can't just go to anybody's
muster.
house. You have to pass muster. And so the Chatton stop was the one stop before Sonny's. And he yanked the boy off of the bus when it was at the Chatton stop and took him home with him. Now, he had never had any excitement in his lifetime. His name was Michael Byers, and so they took him home. He had never even seen a house like that. This is a primitive house, but it was better than ours. They had a pitcher pump inside the house.
Okay,
Ours was outside, and it was an old tin roof.
You
and
had
it
to go
was just,
fetch water.
You had to go fetch. Yeah, we had to go fetch. But they could just pump right there in the house. We thought that was really neat.
Modern convenience.
Modern convenience. But
now can I ask a question real quick about the Chatton boys? Were they mischievous? Did they stay on this side of the law? Were they rough and tumble? What was their?
Well, now Johnny Chatton ended up being for the Cherokee Indian Nation, he was the Attorney General.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Okay.
So he turned out very well in spite of all this.
Wow.
With his Bowie knife.
From humble beginnings.
That's right. And he raised his brothers and his sister. Now his sister, she was only 5 or 6 years old, but she had to cook all the meals in the house. She stood on top of a wooden box, a wooden crate, and to cook. And my husband would say one time when he went over there, it was the best breakfast he ever had in his life, was what she cooked, standing up on top of that box.
Pressed into service as a
next to that
young
stove,
girl.
yes. She had to wash all the clothes, and she cleaned the house. She was just a little kid.
She was the mom.
She was the mom for all of them. But Johnny, he watched over all of them. Anyway, when they brought him to the house, and they drank things out of a mason jar. They had things like fried mullet. They had collard greens and grits and all those old time foods. And he had never ate anything like that in his life, and so he thought that was really something. But so anyway, they had that tin roof and the bare walls. And like I said, they drank out of mason jars. But before come nighttime, they were going to take him on a trip. They took him 12 miles away to a place they called Wildcat Slough. And they were going to go hunting. They were going to go possum hunting or coon hunting. That's how all the Chatton boys made their extra spending money. They were going to go catch rabbits or coons, and they had with them they had their knives and their spears, and they had their bow and arrows and their traps, all these homemade traps they made themselves. They had rabbit traps and snare traps and trap lines.
Now, what would they do once they caught those possums? Would they sell them back to the folks? And they'd eat them, right?
Yes.
We've got somebody on line 5 over here that might know a thing or two about possums and coons and possum stew. And I'm going to take this call because I think you might want to talk to this gentleman here. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're calling from, and tell us what you know about possum stew.
Hello, Helen. It's Andy Hughes.
Hey, Andy.
Oh, there you go. Surprise caller from the great beyond.
I'm calling from Seminole Heights. I was watching online.
Well,
Andy.
Yeah.
Listen, we're learning tonight about the Chatton boys.
Oh boy.
And how they ran things down in southeastern Hillsborough County. Now, I know you fancy yourself a gentleman that knows a thing or two about cuisine, and you enjoy talking all things cuisine, but I need somebody to explain to me who in the world is going to stick a possum in a pot and eat it? Okay, just give me something. Give me something to work with.
People did.
Hey, anything for if you're hungry, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Possum, squirrel. Hey, it's
Gopher?
everything is fair game.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you have
that's
any?
true.
Now,
that's
really, Andy, you've been up there with me to Eggers, And we have put a big fire. Everybody should do this now.
Well, the thing that,
You put a
Helen
fire
comes
out there?
from a long line of good storytellers, but the thing is, the thing you're missing, a vital ingredient, is moonshine.
Oh, that explains
She
it all.
hadn't quite got
Where's
to
the
that
bell?
yet.
Where's the bell?
Yeah,
But you
have
had to
have
figure-
a jar of moonshine there,
Yeah.
and
Just keep
that
listening.
loosens everybody up.
Yes.
You had to figure that Triple X jug was in there somewhere, man.
How about peach brandy? Will that do?
Peach brandy,
peach
that's
brandy.
another one. You
Yeah,
could
that sounds
ferment
good.
those peaches and get that
Oh,
brandy, the
that's
liquor
the next
content up.
story.
Yeah, her brother Edgar is well, they're all kind of legends, and he certainly is. I've really been blessed to be able to spend time with him and his wife.
Sure.
And for Helen to introduce me. So.
What a
But
great,
yeah, no, it's all true. There were some wild boys,
for a long time, because this is a legacy family that's been in Tampa
Yeah.
for quite some time.
Oh yeah. Well, and these are all guys who grew up to be kind of masters of their own trade. I mean, I think Edgar and Johnny are two good examples. I mean, the Attorney General of the Cherokee Nation.
Pretty good.
Edgar really became a master knife maker, just an artisan, an artist, and just hardworking folks.
A lot of self-made men, it
Yes,
sounds like,
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, but they kind of grew up feral,
Yep. And on your own from an early age, so relying on what you got here with your hands and what you can do with your eyes, and relying, I guess, a lot on your guile.
Learning a lot about nature, probably, too.
But talking about food, one thing I do miss from the Seabreeze is that oyster stew.
Can we do something about that, Helen?
If we could just get plenty of good
oysters.
Apalachicola oysters.
Apalachicola. We got to send the truck to Apalachicola, apparently.
Excellent.
Well, Andy, thanks for calling in.
Yes, I feel bad I haven't been out to the truck yet, but I'll see you soon, Helen.
Yeah, you got to
Okay.
get out
Hey,
there.
listen, let me just show you what you're missing, partner. Here, right here. Bring it in the one shot.
Okay.
Look at right here. Look at right here. All right.
Yummo.
Nice.
All right. Okay, that's for you,
man,
man.
yeah.
That's for
Actually.
you.
I hope you got some hot sauce.
We
Yeah,
don't.
we do.
Well, that
We
didn't
do.
show it to you, but bring me back in on that one, and I'll let you see. Look at right there. There it is.
We're ready.
Yeah, we're ready. We're just waiting for that 8 o'clock hour to roll around. But Andy, thanks for calling. We're
Hey,
gonna
love you, Helen.
Yes.
love you, Helen.
Oh, love you too, Andy.
We're gonna have you back on pretty soon, my good man. Thank
are.
you for calling in tonight. What a pleasant surprise.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much.
One special person in my life.
Oh, very.
Can we get to a couple
He's a
of the
good guy.
emails? Because we'd like to.
Yes.
Hold that.
But I need to get to the finish of this
Oh, okay.
story
Well,
first.
hang
Let's
on,
finish
call.
this story.
Hang on, call.
We'll get
We're
those.
gonna get to the finish.
Okay, now they didn't just have knives and everything. They had Tommy Hawks, they had spears, they had blowguns, and hatchets, and they made all these themselves. These are
That's
all
what Andy
like
was
the-
referring
Yeah,
to.
they're-
Master knife
American
maker.
Indians.
Yes, and one kerosene lantern. Okay, and being that Michael Byers was the new boy, they made him king of the pack, the leader of the pack.
There you go.
And they let him carry the lantern. And they told him now they convinced him. Now the rattlesnakes never bite the first guy in the line. That the first guy wakes up the rattlesnake. The second guy scares the rattlesnake, and he always bites the third
guy.
one.
I'm writing that
down.
Third one in line.
Oh, that's one
Okay.
that got bit. Now,
I'll
Michael
remember
had
that.
never even seen a kerosene
Oh
lamp.
my.
And so they had never been in the woods.
Wow.
And there was 8 guys, including Sonny Philippus, and Johnny told them all to get in a single line. They had, so they had, for watch out for those snakes, And
Don't be number 3.
he told all the others. He says, now when I raise my hand, the last one drops off and hides. So they were all in a line, and Michael was carrying the lantern, so he was the leader of the pack. And so every time a few minutes would go by, Johnny would raise up his hand, and the last one would hide. And kept on until Johnny started backing off and started talking louder and louder so he wouldn't realize. And then he stepped out. And after he stepped out, Michael went on probably about another 30 feet before he realized that it was very quiet.
He's by his lonesome now.
And yes, and now
no.
this was a windy, dark night. And the kerosene lantern was flickering. It was almost out of fuel.
Sounds very
And
scary.
he said, and he waited about 15 minutes. He says, okay, you guys, y'all can come out now. It's all right, y'all can come out now. Not a sound. Nobody made a sound.
Oh, wow.
Finally, about an hour went by. They said nobody made a sound. And then he started crying and yelling and screaming that he was by himself out there in the woods and didn't know where he was and didn't know how he was going to get home. And so they all came out. But I promise you, every Friday night, Michael wanted to spend the night with the Chattons. He had never had so much excitement in his life.
Initiation by fire.
By rattlesnake.
And don't be number 3.
Don't be number 3. The moral of the story, don't be number 3. Stevie, read some of those emails.
We have a moment for okay. Well, this is from Hugh Perrette.
Okay.
He writes, hi all. Just enjoying the show with Helen. Please ask her what was her most enjoyable aspect of operating the Seabreeze. His number is 12. And did you have maybe an enjoyable aspect that you can think of, or lesson? Or?
Well, my favorite was when we had the fish market and all those tanks out there with all full of crabs and full of back then you could have sea turtles. We had sea turtles, we had horseshoe crabs, we had, and the schools would bring all the kids there and all the shrimp
like
boats
a nature's
coming up.
classroom.
It was just like they used it for nature's classroom.
Like a nature's
Did you eat the horseshoe crabs?
No, but they have blue blood. It's the only animal on earth with blue blood, and they used it for experiments, for medical experiments. Is what they used it for. And but it was most interesting. I always felt like we had the most interesting place next to Busch Gardens in Tampa.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Hold on to that one, Stevie. And you may or may not be able to answer this, and I don't remember if we asked you the last time you were here. It seems relevant, though. Helen, what in the world happened to all the fiddler crabs?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a little kid and we'd go to the Courtney Campbell Causeway and we just, and it was such a treat for a little guy, 5, 6, 7 years old, to come running up on the crabs if you weren't afraid of them now.
I was afraid.
Because most of them would just scurry and get right back into their little holes.
They were always so much fun.
And they were
everywhere.
Everywhere. What happened to the fiddler crabs, y'all?
They're not there anymore.
So many acid spills, too much pollution, too many, the bay dying, you know, and the red tide, so many things.
Okay.
But I would love to see them come back.
I won't be too sad.
I miss
I know
those.
it. They were fun. They were fun to see.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
fun for the kids to play with.
of course. And you looked for them.
They're fascinating.
And you could hear them running on the sand.
I feel like that's one of the worst things ever that passed in Tampa is that there's no fiddler crabs for all the young generation, this generation to see.
And it's got to be
They're
some kind of
missing
an
something.
indicator or a marker,
Yes.
ecologically
planet,
speaking,
Yes,
to
it
tell you
is.
that the beach is not as healthy as it should be because
That is
the
it.
fiddler crabs disappeared.
Yeah.
It's almost like,
Is
and
that
this is
you
a
have to have
different,
clean sand. They come on clean white sand.
it's almost like the firebugs, the fireflies,
Yeah.
or the grasshoppers that you used to see in your yard,
Right.
or the tadpoles that used to be in the
In the
ditch.
creek.
It's almost like that. That's all part of the ecology.
Yeah.
And when those things start to disappear one at a time, you know, there's got to be an imbalance somewhere. So
We're lucky
I mean,
that we saw them.
I'm just thankful that I have devil crabs here to eat because I'm sad now. Now I'm sad I don't have any tadpoles
You'll
to
be
play
happy
with.
when you eat the devil
Steve, you got
crabs.
another one?
But the best thing about the restaurant was the wonderful customers that we had.
Oh, there you go.
And it was a blessed place. So many people would come in and say, you know, this place is blessed. And we always felt that it was. We give credit where it belongs.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what carried the Seabreeze through so many years and made it so fun.
And we understand too why, you know, when you were here affectionately, you referred to the restaurant in two places. You had the place where the suits ate, and the place where your construction friends, your rednecks, your construction people in the back.
That's
so,
right.
and you knew there was a distinction between the two because
Absolutely.
one probably came from downtown, the suits,
Yes.
and the other ones came from the south, up from the
Yes.
southeast. Those are your construction boys and the
That's
phosphate
right.
wherever they
That's
work.
right.
So, I mean, but think about it. Because of your proximity to Palm River and then Brandon and Riverview, you had a lot of traffic from up that way.
And you could come by helicopter,
Right.
you could come by boat, by bicycle, but you could walk, you could come by car, truck, bus.
Should we show that next video? Because we're rapidly coming
right
up on
at
the 15-minute mark.
yeah.
Should we show that next
Yeah,
video?
Helen, would you okay to show that last video?
You want to
of
see
the
this one
side
as
of
well.
Oh,
you want to see this one
absolutely.
as
Yeah,
well.
this is fantastic.
Video number 2, Eric, if you could please cue that up. Turn the speakers on in the studio so we can hear it too. And this takes us inside again. And look at this.
Look at that fish.
Tops, and we get them right off the boat, brought right here directly. And you can also see the eyes are nice and clean, still have color in them. They're not. So that also shows that it's a pretty fresh fish. 50-pounder here also. Grouper, black grouper.
Black grouper, which is one of your best grouper. It's your high-end line of grouper, your black grouper. You have a gag, you have a red, you have strawberry grouper, and then basically you have your black and your yellowtail are 2 of your better groupers. Now this one here will make 4 and 8 ounce grouper sandwiches. Our grouper sandwich right now is running $9.95 for a quarter pound before breading weight. Which we do have scales that we weigh everything with, of course. And according to the wholesaler who brings us the grouper, he doesn't understand how we can sell them for $9.95 a sandwich when the cheapest he's seen for the same grouper anywhere in Tampa is $14.95. So we're selling we sell between 60 and 120 4-ounce sandwiches a day and probably 70 to 80 8-ounce grouper sandwiches a day. We're growing through close to 500 to 600 pounds of grouper a week.
Definitely a fantastic.
All of our shrimp is, most of it's Florida caught. These are Key West pinks. These will make up our large shrimp platter. 11 large shrimp for $9.95. They all come in with the heads on, all of our sizes. We dehead them and we pill and devein them and we bread them all right here. Here's our washes. We have a flour ready, an egg wash. And of course, the heart of our whole operation is a cooler. We have no freezer. We have, well, I can't say we have no freezer. We have one small house freezer outside, but the heart of our operation is a cooler. All of our seafood comes in fresh. Everything is from scratch here. Everything.
Darling, did you have something you wanted to say?
I need to say that we are at that moment where it's called the 15-minute girl moment. And we have 15 minutes left of the show, so we need to get moving.
No!
Yes!
No!
Yes!
No! No! No!
All right.
Sorry.
Steve, you've got an email that you need to read.
Yeah, just one last email. And by the way,
Please.
thanks to everyone who sent in emails. Hugh, Tom, Rick Parnell, Marilyn Messina, and we're running a little bit short on time. So we got your Bolita numbers. Don't worry, you're in the pot.
You're in the hopper.
Yep. So one last email though. It's hello all. This is from Big Mike Padrina from
Big Mike
Orlando.
Padrina
Wow,
from Orlando.
we missed
Hey,
you,
Mike.
Mike.
Dear
crab.
friend.
He writes devil crab or deviled crab. I always knew it as devil crab without the ED.
Yes.
Going to be a great show. I called Helen about a year ago to order this cookbook and had the best conversation with her. Extremely nice lady. I love the recipes and the stories, especially the story about the dog that made his way back.
Oh, that's
Wow,
my
that was
favorite.
great.
Yeah,
We
that
didn't
was my
get-
favorite story.
We didn't get to talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that, but we read that together
Yeah.
this afternoon, doing a little bit of reading and research for the show,
Yeah.
and that stole our heart. That
Yeah.
story with the dog, that story
It's
about
so
Seabreeze
cute.
stole our
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Now,
Seaweed.
seaweed.
Yeah,
Forgive me, seaweed. You have a special presentation you need
I
to
do,
make, darling.
I
Okay.
do,
Well,
yes.
and let me say this for the record. Thank you to the 15-minute girl for providing some pretty wonderful cinematography there.
Oh,
I don't know if we can give her an award for that, but
Yes, you can.
I'll give her a little bell rung. That was pretty good handiwork with that little camera that we walk around with. And,
Yes.
and Keith was wonderful too on camera.
you.
Okay,
Yes.
so bring us up in the 4-shot. What do you got to say, darling?
I would like to give Helen one of my handmade crosses from seashells that I pick up all throughout the Florida beaches, mostly Paso Grill, which is my favorite, but a few other ones. And I would like to give this to Helen
Very
There you
nice.
go.
It's very
What
nice.
as a gift from me.
There you go.
How beautiful.
Isn't that nice? So you can have that in
That's
the...
perfect.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so
Very welcome.
much.
Very welcome.
Absolutely.
That will be a treasure to me all my life.
One
That
of a
makes me
kind.
very happy.
Shell designed
Yeah.
by the
I
15-minute
get a
girl.
lot of joy out of making those.
They're
Oh,
beautiful.
Lets me be
They're
creative.
beautiful.
And they are one of a kind indeed. So That's from the Tampa Native Show host and our very own 15-minute girl. I got a couple of announcements to make, and then we're going to go real quick and do our Bolita drawing. So many stories, but I do need to ask if you could bring up one photograph for us for sure. That's photograph number. It probably got by us already, but we'll bring it back up again. No, not quite yet. Nope. Stevie, where's the number 11. Number 11, and I'll talk real quick about this.
Oh, yes.
Photograph number 11. There you go. This nice lady, we were just about to leave after about a 2.
Yeah.
No, number 11. Stay with number 11. Okay. Well, number 11, there she is. We were just about to leave after having a wonderful lunch and listening to stories, and we'd been there for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And this lady pulls up in a car that's covered an inch with dust and dirt that somebody was just begging to write "wash me" on the back window. And she overheard us talking with Keith and Helen. And she kind of piped up and said, "Yeah, you know, and I." And we said, "Excuse me? This lady that you see here," Darling, do you remember her first name?
I don't remember her name.
Donna, I think.
Donna.
Yeah.
I like that. Donna. She drove all the way in from north of Gainesville.
Yeah.
150
over
miles.
150 miles.
For devil crabs.
For devil crabs. And I tell you what, she gets a bell run because I don't know how much those devil crabs cost once you figured in the gas prices, but man, she was happy to get them.
She was,
and she bought 2 bags, and she took both of those bags back with her, and she had a friend that traveled with her, and it was just sweet to hear her tell the story. And then we walked over and said hello, and she proceeded to tell us how she remembered the Seabreeze, just like all of us, and she had these fond, wonderful memories.
What a true testament to
Oh my gosh.
the Seabreeze.
How about that, Helen?
I think that is wonderful.
That's amazing.
Once we had
That's
somebody
amazing.
come all the way from Michigan
Oh, wow.
for a meal just for
Wow.
devil crabs.
Oh my gosh.
She said she got up that morning and her boyfriend asked her, "What would you like to do more than anything on earth?" She said, "More than anything on earth, I want to go to the Seabreeze and get a devil crab." And they got in their car and drove from Michigan down there to
Wow, that's
to
a
eat.
testament right there.
And I thought I'll walk a mile for a camel was a big thing.
Yeah, no. I'll drive from Michigan for a devil crab. And you're right, Big Mike, devil crab.
Yeah.
Not deviled as in deviled eggs, but
Correct.
devil crab. How does the devil? How much time we got, Mr. Television Technical Director? About 7 minutes. Good.
That's a long time.
Let me make guess. It is a long time. But I'll talk fast and I'll fill it all up.
Okay.
And then we'll get back to the Bolita drawing real quick.
Yes.
Want to do the Bolita drawing now?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Helen, you know you are our guest of honor this evening, so and she's got still copious notes sitting in front of her, and you can't see her notes, but we can.
And there's lots of them.
Yes, it's either a 9 or a 10 font. I don't know how Helen can see it without glasses, because I can't see it without a magnifying glass. But there's at least 4 or 5 more stories on there, so
And she has so many
don't
stories.
don't think that you've seen the last of Miss
No.
Helen Richards. All
No,
right,
no.
now this is for an autographed copy of Helen's book, The Seabreeze by the Bay Cookbook.
Amazing book, by the way.
Great
It
book
is. It's
with
great.
recipes.
It's a history book
Yep.
and,
The
and a
recipes
cookbook.
are
There's even a recipe
unbelievable.
in there on how to make Cuban bread,
Yes,
courtesy
there is.
of courtesy of Mauricio Faedo.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Helen, dig deep.
Do we have the frozen one in here that I can
No.
make?
Yes, or the one that's filled with
Yes,
lead
yes,
ball.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh,
The number
this is good.
is-
This is good. 73, darling.
Wow.
Sometimes we'll get a high number like
73.
that. As high as it gets, just about.
Oh, wait.
Nope.
Nope.
Big Mike.
It's Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Madrid.
Big
Now
Mike
you got another
Madrid.
book. How cool.
Attaboy, Mike. Attaboy.
How apropos.
So did we get his
Congratulations.
address as well? Did he send his address?
No, but Mike,
Send
if
it
you
in,
can,
Mike.
email us your address.
Please, Mike, send us your address
mail
so we
you that book.
can put that in the mail to you. And it'll get to you in much better shape than the coffee mug we mailed to you about 2 years ago,
That
which
broke,
got to you in about 8 pieces,
Yeah.
as I recall. Broke our hearts.
Congratulations. Nice to hear from you again, Mike.
And thank you for participating.
Yeah.
We have an in-studio guest as well.
We also
Yes,
have
we
an
do.
in-studio
Yeah.
guest.
With a special day
Who is
today.
celebrating a birthday today. We
Yes.
won't get into which one, but it doesn't matter. Because birthdays are all
It's
special.
29.
And holding.
Yes.
Birthdays are all special. We've got about 5 minutes to go, and I just want to read real quick a couple of announcements, and
Happy
then we'll
birthday,
get ready
Leona.
to do our sign-off. Happy birthday, Leona. We'll sing happy
Leona
birthday
Stewart
to you here in just
is
a
in-
minute.
There she
Thank
is.
you, darling. Thank you so much. Real quick, you
Leona
can bring up
Stewart.
that holistic healing. Happy birthday, Leona. There it is.
You're
Very
Mike,
nice.
that holistic. There you go. Just a reminder to everybody out there: Holistic Health Healing and Holistic Health Haven, which is right there, 400 East Palm Avenue. Get over there, see John Testa, see Russell Fox. They're waiting to lay healing hands on you because nothing says I love you like a couple's massage.
Yeah.
Or a facial,
Yeah.
or acupuncture,
And
or
some chocolate.
whatever
chocolate
Yes,
scoop.
or whatever's hurting you. And they can take care of you for sure.
Yeah.
Also, just a reminder, your 15-minute girl, Tampa Steve, and yours truly will be walking the red carpet this Sunday evening at Tampa Theater. We'll be participating in Oscar Night at Tampa Theater. It's a fundraiser there. Tickets are still available. We're going to be there having a blast. 15-minute girl's got her sexy black dress ready to go. I've got my tuxedo, and so does Tampa Steve, so look for us.
It's gonna be fun.
ABC Action News will be there, and they'll be videotaping, so hopefully we'll get a chance to get
We
an
might
interview
make the
with
camera.
them. We also wanted to give a shout out to our friend Ray Villadonga from WMNF. And you know, we just found out tonight, too, that one of our colleagues here at TBCN, DT, Dwayne Terry, is going to be also having his own show at WMNF on Sunday mornings between 9 and 11.
Great.
Wayne Villadonga, step outside. He could use our help. WMNF.org. Search for Step Outside and put a couple of, as he said today, put a couple of cocos, a couple of dollars in his tip jar. Help him out with his fundraising. Also, let me not forget that on May the 12th, we have our Raise Game event. It's filling up fast. We heard today from Eileen Leonard Gonzalez, and she's got a crew that she's bringing with her. Kathy White and Davian Benito, thank you. We received your check, so your places are secure. Remember, that's May the 12th, which is Sunday. That's Mother's Day. The Rays are taking on the Padres, and we're going to be celebrating 15-minute girl's birthday, my retirement from the airlines, and all things wonderful about mothers everywhere. So if you'd like to join us, tickets are still available. Stevie.
Yeah, I'd like to mention also, definitely go to seabreezeonwheels.com. That's seabreezeonwheels.com. You can also go to tampanativeshow.com, our website, click on Visit Our Sponsors, and we have a link directly to Helen and Keith's Seabreeze on Wheels restaurant. So,
Helen Richards?
Yeah, yep, definitely Helen, and it's fantastic.
Helen and Keith. I can't
Yep,
hear.
yep.
I can't hear because I can't wait to get into these devil crabs.
Yes, we're smelling them all throughout
Oh, I know,
the show.
I know, starving.
With a minute to go, Helen, thank you so much for being here with us yet again. You know, the storytelling goes on. We're just scratching. We're just scratching
This is
at
just
the
the
window.
beginning.
Yeah,
Just the
this
beginning.
is just the beginning.
Yes.
So if you'll promise to come back,
I will.
we'll promise to have you back. And you be sure you bring that lady that's sitting just off camera with you, too. Because we like to see Leona whenever she's around. We get a big smile on our face as well.
If
Leona,
you can
happy
put
birthday.
up with me, I can sure put up with you.
Of course.
We have a deal.
Of course. Well, let's all grab our
Have
cups.
time for a toast.
And it's time that we sign off. We're going to sign off with a salute and happy days. Once again, thank you. Thank you so much, Helen, for being here. On behalf of Eric Cups, hello, Dory, hard by the phones, Leona, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm Mario Nunez. This is the 15-minute girl. That's Tampa Steve. Salud.
And
happy
And
days.
happy days. We love you, Tampa.
Bye.
Yes, we do.
See you next week.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Native Show.
If you can do that, then we can put it on the website. And so, you know, if one of our